Coach Rana Mokwena there with our kickoff. He comes in to speak about tactics. So many of us speak about tactics. So many of us speak about the knowledge of football. But do we really know what's going on? He feels maybe not all the time. Remember, Sundowns are in action. 7 o'clock, right? The kickoff is 7 o'clock. It's a home game. And if you're a Sundowns fan, it is free entry if you're wearing yellow. Free entry if you're a Sundowns fan that's willing to sing. Go to the stadium. It is free entry. You can get in and watch for free. Thanks so much to the Touchdown. They do it again tomorrow between 3 and 6. What an inspirational show today. What an inspirational show. But hey, I don't know why I'm surprised. That's the brand of what that show is and what the station is. So absolutely loved it. But tickets are available on Ticket Pro now. Loftus Versfeld Stadium, 7 o'clock kickoff. Today they play Petro de Luanda. It is free entrance if you are wearing yellow and are a Sundowns fan. Wear yellow, wear Sundowns regalia and go out there and support them when they're playing in the African Football League. Right now though, watching South Africa on the screen right now, Bangladesh is batting. South Africa were able to put 383 on the board, is what we're able to put on. I was saying to you before we had to go to ads that South Africa put 382 on the board. So Bangladesh need to put 383 in order to win. At the moment, it's 200 for 8. It doesn't seem very likely that they will reach that point. 200 for 8 at the moment after 41.5 overs have been reached. You've got Mohamedullah, who's on 88 of 92 balls, doing fantastically well with the bat, and Mustafizur, who's on 9 with 15 balls. New man to the crease there. 382 is what South Africa were able to put on. I'm pretty sure by the time we get off the air at 7 o'clock, this will be wrapped. It'll be over. They've got, 183 runs to get, and they've got one wicket to go, so I doubt they'll be able to withstand the Protea fire there. So South Africa, after this, surely through to the semi-finals there. Hey, it's a Rugby Tuesday, and on this Rugby, we wanted to make it Rugby Monday. We really did, but there would have been so much more that would have had to, put it together with, and we wanted rugby purely on its own. So, in order to do that, we welcome, ladies and gentlemen, former Springbok in Lawrence Sepaka, who's a former prop for the Boks, as well as Renier Swart, SABC sports commentator. Lawrence, hey.
How are you, Andile? And the viewers at home, listeners.
If you thought the match versus France was, like heart palpitating, like a heart attack inducing, what was that?
This one you can't even compare, man. If it made us go home and go think about it. What was really happening? And actually, to put it in context, it's actually very simple. You know how they say never focus on the other step before the step before you. Completely. They've been talking the same game. Listen, you cannot keep step. You got to focus at the game in hand, then move on. The minute they beat France, I think the plans were starting to have been put together, how they're going to actually dismantle the All Blacks and all of that. And obviously, considering how England has been playing, I would also do that in their position, but I wouldn't tell the world I'm doing that, because they will know that we're really not emotionally invested in this game. We just want to go through the motions and get over it and get it done. But you could see here that we're so undercooked mentally. We're not so prepared. The way we came into this game, we were shell-shocked. It's like, how? I mean, these are things we talked about. Listen, we need to fix this in order to get this, get ready for New Zealand. Now we're doing like this. New Zealand sitting there licking their lips. Champs-Élysées having some mojitos or something like that, like thinking, guys, get those champompos on ice. I think might be coming, and the Springboks are not playing like we used to. But like I said, it's also a dangerous thing for them to think like that. But I wouldn't be doing that, saying what I was saying. And to think about it as well as like, no, they had 1 foot in the final. One was in the semi. And unfortunately, they almost tripped very badly in that situation.
They really did. Before I introduce the next man, Renier Swart, who now joins us as well, please have a listen to this. This is commentary coming from Saturday. Right, Malcolm is still looking for it there. Timmy, come around and show Malcolm where the commentary is, because I really do. I love playing commentary that is our very own here at the SABC. Renier Swart, bring us. You find it? Here it is. Have a listen to Renier Swart with the commentary, courtesy of the SABC.
penalty. Ergens Meeman, try African.
That's what we needed. We need to convert this try. Then we're in the game. We're back again. Ergens Meeman, the super sub.
Dion Fourie, Canada, Kwele, le Kadembilo, le Tona, a Baka, Sama, Fenacho Bapaka, le Rakayo, a Fella Kato, Fenacho try lining, Ergens Meeman, Hakra, Kwele, the Basak Konekomo Chara, Ibile Raro Kabo, di Mohamukwaka, Onana Mark, Brian Kopele, Afrika Bora, Wari Busile, e Kukile Mecha, Kadele, e Chancete Andre Pollard, Vele Pelefat, Solevella di Cor, Virayalo, Penette, that's a Moharakadikota.
Absolutely amazing. The voice of Renier Swart, 44 years with the SABC as a broadcaster, joins us now live in the language of Setswana as well as Afrikaans. Renier, I don't know how you could have done it. I mean, yes, you did the 1995 final when we beat New Zealand. Yes, you've had some amazing moments in the commentary box, but I don't know how much measures up to what we had on Saturday versus England.
Andile, yes, good afternoon, and good afternoon to listeners, and good afternoon, Lawrence. I think we went through the same hell, if I can put it that way. In commentary, it was one of my scariest moments ever in my life. I think when we trailed by that, and there's 10 minutes to go, and you tend to lose hope for the side. When you do commentary, you're not allowed to actually be biased. But I'm a South African, and I had to be biased in that at that specific moment. So yes, it was difficult, but I'll tell you, when Ergens Snyman scored that try, it is like a feeling of new water going over you. It really felt like now we are in it again. We can do it. It's now just a question of time. And that luckily is what happened. But I'll tell you, I was very close to on Monday go to my cardiologist to go and get my heart checked because it missed a few beats a few times.
Let me tell you, I must be very honest. I've got a lot of little ones in my home, or my kids. And we'd all been staying up for the rugby. And towards the last 20 minutes, they were getting a little bit tired because, it was late. So I decided, you know what, let me switch the TV off, but just pause it at that moment because my heart couldn't take it either. I put the kids to rest, and then I went downstairs to do whatever it is. And my neighbors, through the noise they made me realize that, okay, Andile, you can go and watch it now. Because I couldn't. My heart just couldn't take it anymore. So, unlike a sports fan, because we want to see it in real time, I didn't see it in real time. It was one of those where it just, I couldn't do it. My heart couldn't take it anymore. But let's be honest here. You look at the game against France, you look at the game against England, we were not the better team in both those matches.
Absolutely agree with you, Andile. I think England must have done their homework. They actually went to their weaknesses and actually exploited them to the T. And kudos to them because the weather was in their favor as well because we are really not that good. I spoke about it earlier that when we played Romania, we scored a bonus point try in 10 minutes. As soon as the rain started coming and started things going pear-shaped, it's like, oh, what's happening now? I don't understand. But when that weather was really playing, it was not a leveler. It was actually a cul-de-sac for us and probably a freeway for England. And they were having their way. And actually, the way of fighting, staying in that fight for so much, I think they should have done more damage with the opportunities that they had. And obviously, the discipline didn't help them much. The captain was not leading by example, to be honest. But I think the mere fact they didn't capitalize on those opportunities as well, they're probably there to blame themselves because we were not in that game emotionally, spiritually, physically, we were on the field. But we were there probably making up numbers. But at some point, you could see animation from the coaches when they were making those substitutions. It was panic mode. And understandably for them as well. They wanted to make something happen. They wanted to get something changed very quickly. And obviously, Liebok was the first man to go. And
were you surprised with Liebok going that early?
I wasn't surprised considering how much pressure the whole backline was under pressure because the forwards were not producing anything. Instead, they were in reverse gear the whole time. Remember, I always say the forwards lay the foundation. They give confidence to the back to dictate how to play, where to play, and when to play. But now you're in reverse gear, you four-wheeler here, because all the wheels are spinning. What do you think those guys are thinking? When the ball comes, it's like a hot potato, and it's probably not even coming the angle you wanted to come, and then you don't get that actual kick that you want to put in. It was like pressure time for the general at that point in time. When they made a change, maybe the decision as well, as harsh it might have seemed, but I think they needed someone mentally mature and obviously more stable who's been in that situation.
And there's a World Cup winner on the bench.
There's a World Cup winner on the bench, and that's why he's there.
I think it was an assistant, it was one of the captains at some point as well.
He's one of the leaders.
Yeah, he's one of the
leaders. So Razi think needed someone to stabilize from that point of view, because Reinach was not having a best game either. Because really that control where it needed to happen, it didn't happen because the forwards were not producing the platform to operate. England was breaking every rule possible, but they were doing in such a manner that Ben O'Keefe was not saying it. But like I said, I'm done moving to Ben O'Keefe, and actually he's been a ref and he's done what he could see, he's done what he couldn't see. He's been blamed for all sides, but this game was nothing to do about him. We needed to show up, and actually for this time, I think for the first time as well, I haven't used bomb squad quite a lot in this World Cup because I think the last two games, I think they're starting to bring back that bomb mentality into the setup. When they come in, they make instant changes. Not all of them at the same time. Last week it was Kwacha who came in and set the place alight. This time it was Ox, Argia, and even Dion Fourie. You could see these guys really didn't want to end their tournament here, and not like this as well. And it was just amazing. Just those three guys, what they did, they micro, my cute, whatever effort they put in. But I think Ox one was really a catalyst, because what he did, that's what we've been asking from Kitsoff from minute one. Like, listen, send Denkol off so they can put on Sinclair, punish Sinclair, and then we'll start eating from penalties. As simple as that, we could have won that game simply by penalties, and that was the case.
I want to get back to the actual rugby on the field, but I think the one thing the world is talking about right now, and I want us to get into the conversation. Do we have Renier on? He's probably the one polyglot that can get onto this conversation as well, being a multilinguist. And all three of us here having such a good command of different languages, because I think that's where we're differing with the English here. You know, we've got a black guy. I was saying earlier on Touch Show, we've got a black guy who's in an Afrikaans environment where they speak Afrikaans with the team. Of course, largely so as well, so that the opposition doesn't quite always understand what is being spoken by the South African players. Bongi Mbonambi at the moment, the World Rugby received, and I'll read it out to you. The English Rugby Football Union lodged a protest on the 21st of October 2023 with World Rugby alleging the use of a racial slur by Bongi Mbonambi of South Africa against Tom Curry of England in the match played on the 21st of October in Paris between South Africa and England. The complaint alleges that Mr. Mbonambi called Mr. Curry a white C word, which obviously cannot be said on radio. World Rugby takes such allegations extremely and extraordinarily serious. World Rugby has investigated the allegation. Interviews have been conducted with players from both teams, the match officials and the coaching staff, and the transcript of the television audio broadcast were reviewed. After thoroughly investigating it, it was determined that Mr. Mbonambi directed no such comments towards Mr. Curry, but rather towards Owen Farrell. As a result, the complaint on behalf of Mr. Curry is dismissed. Pertaining to Mr. Farrell, the Oxford English Dictionary defines a slur as an unfair remark about somebody that may damage other people's opinion of them. In light of this, World Rugby hereby denies leave of file an amended complaint on behalf of Mr. Farrell, and the matter is considered closed.
End of story.
End of story. So that's how it ended. But even that does not absolve Ubongi, because it doesn't say no. He didn't say slur to you. It goes the other way around. Say no, it wasn't Curry, it was directed to us Farrell. And when you look at what that slur means, it means this. So therefore, it's not a racial slur. I want to play it for you guys. We're going to play it and you're going to hear it, because, like I said, it's Afrikaans versus English. And I'm going to go to the Afrikaans speaker here so that we get a better understanding. This is what was heard. And if you need to listen in on your radio very closely, you might need to increase your volume here, because, of course, we're getting this from the referee's mic on the field. Bongi Mbonambi speaking to his team here. Have a listen to what happened. Are we getting it? All right, we're about to get it. Timmy's going to load it up just now. Renier, you've had an opportunity to listen to it, I'm sure?
Yes, I did listen to it.
And what is your understanding of what transpired in those seconds?
You must understand that there's a lot of Afrikaans being spoken in the Springbok team, and all the players are taking on. I'm sure that they are taking on other words as well and other languages as well when they are in a team type of environment. It's always like that in rugby, and because Afrikaans was something that was used a lot in the rugby, I think there's a difference because the similarity between the words are so close. If Faf de Klerk, you can hear him loudly shouting at the stage, come on manne, kry hulle aan 'n kant. It means, come on guys, get them on their side. A kant in Afrikaans means side.
And
Now,
that's the word that's, I guess, more than anything, up for contention. But it's even worse if you put the other word now, which might be white or wide.
yeah, if you see, that's another one that you cannot hear very well. If you say wide, it's so. In other words, it's not the short side; it's the longer side that we must look at. They're not going to go short side because the side, a kant, means a side. Ek is aan jou kant, I'm on your side. That is in Afrikaans. Now, as I say, a lot of these guys speak Afrikaans on the field in order to distract the opposition because they don't know the language. The French do the same. We don't understand French. They do the same in French. The Italians do the same, and I'm sure the Japanese do use the same. If we had an all Xhosa team, I think we would have done it in Xhosa. If we had an all Tswana team, we would have done it in Tswana. And all of us have words that sound like a word that's not suitable for the rugby, but in a different language, it means different things. So, no, my old feeling about this is England, it's just like England is.
Well, here it is. For those that haven't heard it and have been wondering what the fuss has all been about, with the potential of Mbonambi perhaps, going as far as he might be excluded depending on what the punishment might be. I read out to you what World Rugby has said, but have a listen to this.
Advantage, wrong side. Seven falls on wrong side. Slowing it down.
It's so small. You can't even, it's so small. You have to pay attention. But what he does say, he says, he says that side, white side, in Afrikaans, of course. And Witkant, yeah. And it became such a huge thing in World Rugby that, we thought we might even have a final without Mbonambi. But surely, Lawrence, come on. I mean, I listened to that so many times. That's why I could hear it. If you're hearing it for the first time, you probably didn't even hear him say it. It was that faint. But surely sour grapes.
No, it is sour grapes, considering, if you thought you heard something in English, can't, can't, then does it mean he understands Afrikaans as well? Do you understand? Basically, only word he picked up and the other one he edited himself so that it can make sense. That is absolute sour grapes. It's actually very poor that they actually went with it as well without even looking for the evidence themselves first. They were hoping that something might actually come up from that, from the audio, from the reference, stuff like that, which is very poor. That's so losing at its best. We are bad losers, but not to that point.
Renier?
Andile, if you listen to that, you'll hear that the referee at the stage says wrong side. Verkeerde kant in Afrikaans. Hy lê aan die verkeerde kant. Now, and especially in a game where England is involved, and a other team. You hear a lot of times a referee saying white ball because England wears white. And now in Afrikaans you say it's aan die wit kant. It's on the white side. So they tried everything. They tried everything in the book to just have sour grapes. And congratulations that they actually reached World Rugby in nonsense like this. I don't think even World Rugby listened to it in a proper way.
18:31, let's take a break. When we come back, it must have been a stroke of genius. Are we going to, for the rest of our lives, speak about Ninaba, of course, the Jew of coaches with Rassi, and their stroke of genius when they brought up Andre Pollard to say, come and join us. We want you back in this team. It was a decision that many of us questioned. We wondered if he was the right person. We looked at what he had been doing, how much rugby he had been playing. Is he ready for a stage like this? And you can come close to saying he was one of the people that won that match for us.
Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM.
Kabelo GP.
Okay, it's not easy to support Kaizer Chiefs. It's not easy. You see, if the last weekend, if it was not for the bucket, maybe I would have died. So what I want to say is, my worry now is I've already inserted the Kaizer Chiefs team in my children. So I don't know if they will survive like the way I'm surviving now. You see, if my wife can divorce me now, I'm very strong emotionally, spiritually because of the abuse that I've been receiving from Kaizer Chiefs. They have killed me inside and outside. They don't care. Instead of feeling good football, they are feeling Mazamba.
As they are doing Mazamba. He's talking about the chips.
Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. The Metro FM 2023 Heat Wave is the place to be.
My summer party station.
Look out for dates when the Metro FM Heat Wave will be in your city.
Metro FM Heat Wave.
18th November, Bloemfontein. 25th November, Kimberley. 2 December, Newcastle. 9 December, Johannesburg. 16th December, East London. 29th December, Cape Town.
We are doing the Metro Heat Wave.
The Metro FM Heat Wave, an unforgettable experience for music enthusiasts. It's a Metro FM summer. Metro FM. It's where you want to be. Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
In Tato 12, let me see. It's in Tato 12, in Tato K. I have just tagged you now on the statement as I read it. You'll, tell me what you think, what you get out of that. I just read it as it was from World Rugby. You'll read it and let me know what you think it is. But I mean, that last line for me is what I was going on, because that last line then reads, World Rugby hereby denies leave to file an amended complaint on behalf of Mr. Farrell, and the matter is considered closed. So have a read and let me know what you think. I have tagged you on it and I've put it on there. So let me know what you think. It's exactly 18:34 on the Mighty Metro FM. We're speaking all things rugby here. And here we were speaking here with Lawrence while we're still trying to fix your phone line. I worry about a South Africa team that has won the 2 matches in the quarterfinals and the semifinals in the way that we've won them. It's been scrappy. We haven't been the better teams. We've had to dig a lot deeper than what we've had. We're going into a final now. I wonder, how many more magic tricks do we have in this hat? How many more rabbits can we pull out of this hat? Because we've been doing it the hard way. Against the New Zealand team, you're not going to get the sort of breaks that you've gotten against France and in England. We haven't been the better team for a while now in this competition.
Yes, we haven't been the better team for a while. We definitely were not the better team against England. And against France, we were not good. We did some good things and we counter-attacked very well. But against England, we were sloppy. We were not the better team. And luckily, things come in threes. I don't think that we will play the same type of game. Even the weather at Parc de Pras, now I'm talking about Parc de Pras at Saint-Denis, will not be, even if it rains, I think we'll be better prepared. I think the main thing that bothered us a lot was the high ball. And I spoke to somebody the other day who is in France, and he said that the rain was not that bad. It's more the winds that were blowing. And the winds when that ball goes out at the top of the of the stadium itself, it swirled a lot and that, but it was on both sides. Just coming back to it, we didn't play good. We were the worst team. We were not the best team, but England's best couldn't beat South Africa's worst. So, yes, I think we can just do better. And going into this game against New Zealand, we can just do much better than we did in both of these games. And I'm sure that will be the view of our Springboks and of the management of them.
Let's speak about Andile Pollard and, the genius. Oh, sorry, there we go. Let's speak about Andile Pollard and the genius that is now what Rassie and Nina Albert did in bringing him on. I mean, at the time, they couldn't have known that they would have needed him in this way, but now it seems like a stroke of genius. Now it's like, wow, you go and get a man who hadn't played rugby in so long, dropped from this team, you get a marks injury. There's big questions about who you call on. We even had a chat about it to say, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right man for the job? He's come on and almost been our savior, our Superman at the moment.
I absolutely agree with you, Andile. I think you might give it to them because it worked out perfectly in that situation. But if you also think about it as well, he was, before getting injured, he was the incumbent, number 10. And obviously, when injury, someone taking the opportunity in Liebok, which he absolutely had ample time to grow in that position, which he did amazingly. But that's the nature of the beast sometimes in rugby. It changes from time to time. And how he's actually held the fort, I mean, you got to commend him. But obviously, Pollard, now he was... His attendance in that match at the time he came as well, you could see his worth that they were actually referring to in terms of his calmness, his leadership. He's obviously taking control of the situation.
And you saw that from the time he came on.
And he was controlling, not things that started going well with the force when he came on. There was still some chaos, but he managed to just control the controllables and actually get the team in a nice place, in a comfortable place, because you didn't want to spend a lot of time in your own half, because that was dangerous. 3 points, I mean, obviously, at the time when they brought Ford on as well, I think that's where England made a mistake as well. I mean, Ford has carried them so hard, and they dropped him, and actually when it mattered the most, I think must have been heartbreaking for him as well. To bring him in 2 minutes, you can see they were desperate to thinking of a drop kick at some point. But at that point, I think the forwards had that belief. After that try, had the belief like, listen, now we got to do whatever we need to do. And you could see that discipline they had. With 10 minutes to go, like, listen, this time, I wasn't even panicking the last 2 minutes.
What?
No, the last 2 minutes. I wasn't even panicking because I've seen what they can do when the chips are down. I was more comfortable in the last 2 minutes than I was with the last 20 minutes.
I knew they had won by the time I watched it, and I was panicking.
No. The last 2 minutes, you could see it's loud and clear. Guys were not trying to take chances at drag time, hit and release, and basically just form a line. Let England run themselves to a pulp if they can. And obviously, even the defending was even better at the time. Guys were making first time hit, and if the jackal does come in, it does come in, but eventually they just bought enough time for England to run themselves to the ground. And at that time, a drop kick was a no-no because they were too far from the poles to even attempt.
Your moment of the match, then, Renier, before we move on to, because I want to speak about New Zealand, how they've come up. They seem to be peaking at the right time, New Zealand. But before we go there, I want to wrap up the match against England in the semi-finals. What was your magic moment? What is that one moment that you're going to pick out of this and think, history from now on, we'll think about this?
Well, the magic moment was when Archie Snyman scored that try.
Oh, yes.
It just lifted everybody. It wasn't just Archie Snyman scoring the try. I think the whole team going forward, that kickoff from Pollard, and the team really knowing that they have to now do something. That was the magic moment. Once he scored that try, and again, one of the things that, like Lawrence has said, he was a forward. He knows the confidence that came back to the forwards, because they didn't play well. The confidence that came to the forwards at that specific time, and them saying and getting the belief in themselves again, that changed the whole game. And I tend to agree. The last 2 minutes was tense, but it wasn't as tense as the first 70 minutes. I think the first 70 minutes was something out of this world for a South African. When you watched it, that's why you did what you did, Andile, to go take the kids to bed, because you didn't want to.
I've got 4 kids. My heart couldn't take it.
Yeah, no, a lot of people couldn't take it, and unfortunately, we as commentators and Lawrence as an analyst, we had to watch it right through.
I can tell you now that the cricket is over. South Africa have won this one. I think it's just 100 runs or so that they've won this by. Bangladesh, therefore, couldn't reach the mammoth task that South Africa had set up for them. So that is all over. South Africa win at the Cricket World Cup out in India at the moment, beating Bangladesh. Now let's move on, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got a tale of two sides here. We've got two of the most fierce rugby teams, rugby nations in the world. Both of them sitting on 3 World Cups. The one has done the one thing that the other hasn't done. New Zealand have won it back-to-back before we won it in this last World Cup when we beat England in the final. We are yet to win it back-to-back. This is our first opportunity. But if we do that, we'd pip New Zealand, because not only will we win it back-to-back, but we'll win our 4th one. Now, you look at our team, how we've gotten here. You've got the Ireland match that you've got to consider. You've got the 2 matches versus in the quarterfinals and the semifinals you've got to consider. You've got to consider the magic moments and the lucky moments that we've had as well, right? And then you look at New Zealand, they feel to me like they're peaking at the right time. You look at their first match versus France. They went and lost that, right? They didn't look great. They lost to South Africa 2 weeks before that. Didn't look great. But since then, they've grown in every single match, in every single stature. The big players have showed up. And it's looking like they're the better team right now. What do you think of my analysis?
Oh, you've actually got a nail on the head. They're picking at the right time. They're probably hitting the strikes at the perfect time as well. I think they're on cruise control right now. The danger of cruise control is that water puddle and that portal. You're not expecting at this point in time, it's the Springboks. Because remember now, they know what they're capable of, considering how they were playing the last few games. I mean, our wake-up call, we had to get it twice. You know what I mean? Obviously, hopefully the 3rd time we'll heed the call and really respond. And they know something is coming. And they will prepare the best as their ability they can, because they know once they get their preparation wrong, the mentality wrong against the Springboks, they're going to be put to the sword. I mean, Twickenham was not a long time ago when they were put to that proper
massacre
sword.
of Twickenham.
You know what I mean? They will not forget them. And obviously, they've got that elephant memory of theirs. They don't forget when they hurt. And sometimes when they get an opportunity to have some redemption, they make it count. And obviously, considering that match, like you said, I mean, they're all looking to do it for the 4th time, but I suppose back-to-back is one we need. I think at this point in time, we don't care about those states. We just want to get it first. And then we can talk about back-to-back and 4. And then we're leading the charge in that regard. And then, the respect would be restored. And then the World Rugby is going to start paying attention to us again and start analyzing and see how's the way to go forward. I suppose the Europeans will be benefiting a lot more, because now we're playing in the other side, continent, in terms of most of our rugby unions. So they'll be benefiting from that experience for that matter. But like I said, that being said, I think those states are all lovely, but first prize is to show up in a mental state that is conducive of a high pressure game. And obviously, I think this time they'll have to actually go reshuffle a little bit some personnel in that team as well to make sure they do that. I mean, if you look on Ox, I mean, there's one game we actually worked on together when I said Ox is primed to start the game.
Ox
and I mean, it was
marvelous.
When he came on, it was instantaneously. He took Dan Cole from cruise control to dismantling. And dismantling him so badly that next movement was to take him off the field, because there's nothing else we could have come up with. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, now they've tried and tested our bomb squad mentality. Sinclair is a better scrummer, according to me. And to Ox, it was not different. It was the same player in front of him he needed to deal with. He dealt with him immediately as well. And obviously that sent a message to Ben O'Keefe. So listen, these guys have been dominant since these guys got on. I think the last penalty we got to win the game, I haven't mentioned it like this in here. Luck has hit us at the right time as well, but we also have laid the seed in Ben O'Keefe's mentality to sort of look at us as a dominant team. That makes a hell of a statement when you actually consider how these refs, they're human. They act on emotion sometimes. It's a high-octane situation, and they have to react on an instant. Sometimes that gut feeling of theirs tends to play a role as well before they actually look at the detail, because a lot of things are happening at the right time. Like I said, the All Blacks are going to be waiting for the proper Springboks, and I'm sure the proper Springboks are going to be showing up as well.
You've got Adi Savia, Burden Barrett, Will Jordan, who scored the most tries at the World Cup. I think he scored 8. You've got all of those players wanting this, worse than anybody at the moment. they're coming out of this, out of an embarrassment of the beating at Twickenham, out of the embarrassment of the beating of an opening match, which you'd never seen before. They're taking on the Springboks, who have had a certain amount, a pinch perhaps, of luck on their side as well. How do you see it playing through, Renier?
Well, I think, yes, so the Springboks had a bit of luck on their side in these last two matches, but the New Zealanders also, I mean, when they played Ireland, they also didn't look, they looked, it was a tremendous game. They had, the whole way they played was good. But I mean, Ireland gave them a very, very good go. And they were lucky in that, you know, it's the first time, which I can recall in recent time, where I see that there's 38 phases in a rugby game. And that was Ireland at the end of the game. And New Zealand were very lucky there, that one specific try that they held up in that game. So they also had luck on their side. So yes, it's going to be a difficult game. They may be the side with the tails up in the air at the moment and saying South Africa, but like I said in the beginning, and that was one of the statements I made, in not on commentary, but to a lot of my friends, and I said, you don't underestimate New Zealand. They will not lose 3 big games in a row. Before the Ireland game, and I said it because if we won that group, we would have played New Zealand. And I said we will not win. They will not lose 3 big games in a row. They will. There's somewhere there's going to be a flaw. Now they've won 2 big games in a row, and not a big game. I mean, the Argentinian game wasn't that bad.
No.
But South Africa is going to give them a very good go, and they know it. They know exactly. But we must, as Lawrence has said, we must look at the team. We must look who starts. We've got a 33-man squad.
Is it easy now to say who starts at 10?
Well, I personally think that they will start with Pollard and have Libbok on the bench, or not having Libbok on the bench. Maybe we can look at the rest of the bench, what they do there. But I will start with Pollard at this stage of the fight. I think he proved himself against England. And I don't know what Lawrence thinks.
Lawrence, what do you think?
That will be the way to think.
No, for me, I don't think it matters. I think Pollard has showed his maturity, he's shown his presence, where he actually there to do something totally different to what they normally would do to bring him in. They know how important he was. I feel also for me, under that central pressure that we had there, he showed his worth, and it was in gold. And I wouldn't mind him starting and Libbok actually benching for him as Pollard. I think when the wheels fall off, that confidence in Libbok is also there to say, this man can also do the thing. He's done it before. So the confidence of having your best player or not your best player on the bench, I don't think they have that anymore. Like I said, that bomb squad mentality is coming back. Players that are on the bench are not necessarily bad players compared to the ones that are starting. But the ones that are starting are supposed to lay a foundation that's conducive enough for whoever comes on, either come pick it up, or come control the situation, or come diminish even further. So that's a whole thing that they started as a team. I mean, if I had an opportunity to actually put it down as well, who I think should be starting this game, if you've got time to do so, I think Pollard will start, Faf should come back, and if I have Hendricks on the bench, I mean, that whole system that they had before, I think it's also a different player that you need, a player like him against New Zealand when it comes to these things. I wouldn't mess with the backline so far, but I'll twinkle with the bench. And basically, instead of having the 5-3, I'll bring the 6-2 again, having more forwards, and obviously bringing someone who probably multi-skilled in that department, someone like Moody, to come take Vali's spot at this point in time, because we'll cover a couple of positions for in that regard. And obviously, I don't know how tired those centers are, because it was a texting moment that they've gone through. But they do have another pair of centers they can slot in there. I mean, those ones who did it against New Zealand as well. So it's not foreign territory to them. So it's no problem. They can maneuver whichever they like. But in terms of forward as well, I think they can start the big fella. And that Bud Spencer, who started with Mondambi, and if Etzebek as an enforcer, they can actually maybe Mostert replace him and put Young Klein, and then obviously have the Archia doing his role like he's been doing it very well at the moment. He could start as well, but it's going to be interesting how they're playing. No, he could start with Etzebek.
Okay.
Not replacing Etzebek at that point in time. But the impact as well, like Kwagga as well. I wouldn't start Kwagga, because the kind of value gives from the bench is so much valuable. He can turn games around for you. It's very important. So certain players have got certain roles they play in the system. Certain players you cannot start. Certain players you can. Others you cannot play from the bench. So they've got a conundrum to really work with there. But like for instance, and they left to really look at that in detail and actually be honest with themselves. Which are the right players that can actually put New Zealand in a corner?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's face it, nothing brings a nation together like sport. The box will be the topic of conversation for the rest of the week, and rightfully so. You know, at the beginning of the World Cup, there's a pair of shorts, like swimming shorts, that I saw one of the shops advertising. And I said, listen, these are really nice, but I have nowhere to wear them. But if the Boks win, I'm going to wear these on TV. Now, I'm one Saturday away from wearing shorts on national television. They're very cute shorts. But it's a short, man.
Are they close to fast ones?
They're far short. They're very far short. And Tatoke, I do hear you about the statement that's been circulating since this morning, which I read out a little bit earlier, and waiting for confirmation on World Rugby to say something. Thank you so much. That is in Tato 12 that we've been communicating with on social media, listening to the show. Let's hear some of your voice notes.
Evening, Andile. I just think the English team is a bit bitter that they lost, and I think they tried their best to derail us psychologically to prepare for the finals. I don't think this was something that anyone could have raised a concern about. Ek is van Afrikaanse school, so that's niks verkeerd met dit nie. So yeah.
Yes, boy.
They lost. They must just accept that.
Thank you, meneer.
Good evening, Andile. You know, from my viewpoint, I can say South Africa is under attack, especially from European countries, because it's giving them hard time. It started with cricket, the issue about Rabada. Then now is rugby. In fact, they didn't want South Africa to reach the finals because it's an African country. Thank you.
Geez, I mean, that's a very blanket approach to it. I mean, when you take a look at who South Africa are in world rugby, you know, it's not like in other sports. In world rugby, South Africa is a big boy. Yes, you know, Rassi will tell you different as to how they perceive us and, you know, whether they're happy with us winning or not. But I guess I do hear you.
Good evening, Andile.
Yeah.
This thing of rugby. We must respect our players for rugby. They can beat people. And then when they're beating people they start saying they're using F word. They must understand the language. The language is a language. Don't take language that you say speak by the black man and then you think it's an F word. No. Thank
you very much, man. So what we've done on this show is we didn't think there'd be such attraction for rugby. I must be very honest, on this station in particular, Metro FM. But after that first round of matches, we took rugby on half a day on Monday. And everybody called and said, Andile, we're not very fair with the sport. Please, let's educate while we enjoy it as well. And so many football fans, so many cricket fans, so many track and field fans have gotten into rugby, and they're calling us every single Tuesday to say we're in this, although we don't understand it. And that's what South Africa is. And we appreciate it so much. And thank you to all of you for coming on. Let's take the two calls very quickly there. Malcolm Angboni, it's too far there. I'm not wearing my glasses. Cece. Actually, let's just take Cece alone today. Cece. Hey, go for it, man. The whole country's been waiting for you.
Yes.
We're wondering where are you. We're wondering where you are, Cece. Go for it. We're listening.
Yeah, no, this one reminded me, if you remember the fight between Manny Pacquiao and Marquez. I think it was the fourth one. The fourth fight between the two. Yeah.
Cece, man, no, man. Are we in boxing now? Hey. It really was. I do remember that fight. I mean, it was a highly contested bout after the 3 matches, and it's crazy how this was the. Thank you very much. And I was about to say that it's one of the only bouts where people still wanted a 5th, a 6th, a 7th, and an 8th. It was that competitive. It was that red in terms of the 2 fights. But what do you think? Final, Springboks, New Zealand.
In terms of the game plan that actually England used was actually straight out of the Springbok book, because you could tell that they had someone who's been in the Springbok camp, Mr. Pollard Walters. If you remember, the conditioning coach, he was in 2019, he was the Springbok. So you could actually tell that the way the England were playing, and you could see even their emotions on the face. I mean, they were very smart. If you remember the smiles that they had on their face, thinking that the game was won.
Oh, the sound is not agreeing with us today, CC. The sound is really not great today, not agreeing with us as well. Renier Swart, thank you so much. I will catch you live, of course, on Saturday as you broadcast the game to millions of South Africans. It's going to be a great one. Yet another World Cup final for you. Can't wait to host you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Andile. I appreciate it, and I'm honored to be on your show.
By the way, you're trending. Do you know what that means, Renier? You're trending.
Yeah, I think it's Lawrence who caused it.
Thank you so much. Mtana, it's been so lovely, and I hope that this is not the end of the relationship with rugby and the SABC, because you've been nothing short of fantastic.
No, thank you, Andile. I think that the platform was great, and I think as well, we must close it after the final as well.
No, of course.
And look it forward. I'm sure there's more of this to come.
No, I hope so. And that beeping, I'm not sure what that is. Pela, Nanzo, me.